Hi, I'm so excited that you have a Thermomix on your kitchen bench, or you're about to have a Thermomix on your kitchen bench. It is the most amazing smart connected kitchen and will really help you with whatever you've been struggling with, whether it's been time or recipes, creations, being creative, inspiration, or saving money, any of those sorts of things. For me, I'm passionate about zero waste, and that's something that I've realized as I've had a Thermomix that it can really help with as well. Anyway, that's for another day. So welcome to your Smart Connected TM6. So what I want to do first is show you some of the features of the machine. I have got some notes off the side so I don't forget anything. So if my eyes go left, I'm just checking. But first of all, when you get your Thermomix out of your box, what you want to do is you want to put it on a flat, level surface, all right? And just make sure that if you're moving it around, you lift it, okay? So you've got a handle at the back, you've got the thing at the front, you lift it like this, you never slide it or drag it across the surface. The reason for that is it has 3 little feet underneath it and the scales are in the feet. You start dragging it, you're going to mess up your scales. Can be fixed, but it means a little trip off the surface. So look after your scales. The other thing to do is to also make sure that you pull the cord right out. Most people don't realize that you can actually extend the cord, and make sure that your Thermomix is not sitting on the cord, because that will also affect the scales. Okay, I've done all that. All right, now, when you get your Thermomix, it will come up, it will do a little starting up routine on the screen, and then it will ask you some questions. And I'm just going to go into settings here. So the questions that it's going to ask you, and I'll just bring up a little so you can actually see. On my settings here, I've got language, and you select English Australian. Okay, the country is Australia, and then it's going to ask you to set up your Wi-Fi. So it will automatically look for the Wi-Fi connection, and you choose the right one, put your password in. Okay, and then you're going to connect up to Cookie-Doo. So on my Cookie-Doo account, it tells me here that when it's going to expire. I've got my email address on there, so I know which email I've logged in with too. And the first time you log into the screen into your Cookie-Doo account, that then gives you 6 months subscription to Cookie-Doo. Okay, so that's the setup that you actually do. Then it will also ask you for if you want to have for work, if you're happy for them to know what you're cooking. Now, I say yes, it's totally up to you. But if you say yes, it will start personalizing your some of the recipes that you'll see on Cookie-Doo. That's a story for another day, but it is a really cool thing to do. The other thing, whilst we're here under settings, is you do also have down here, hang on, we've got, oh, maybe it's not there. You will come up, there will be a whole lot of safety screens that come up. And I'm not sure where they've gone, but they will come up when you first set it, you first set up your, here we go, safety instructions. So there's a whole lot of screens that come up, and you just need to read them and click next. All right, they're just explanations. It tells you, not to overfill. It tells you not to put it too close to a cooktop. Again, with your simmering basket, there's a maximum line on there. A whole lot of different things. How to take your bowl, make sure that the bowl and blade are put back in together, which I'm going to go through anyway. All right, so there's a whole lot of stuff in there. And that's, once you've got through all of that, you will come to this screen. So I'm just going to move back to see that there's a few things I want to show you. Okay. First thing is a good thing to do, I need a measuring cup to do this, is I'm going to test my scales. So the best way to do that is literally to swipe to the screen to the left, click on the scales, make sure they're on 0, and then pop your measuring cup on top. All right, it should be between 80 and 85 grams. The scales are 1 gram increments. So, okay, So we've done that. We're out of there. Actually going to go back to the home screen. Okay. That's all good. Right, next thing I'm going to show you, it's good job I've got a checklist. Next thing I'm going to show you is the spatula. Now, the great thing about this spatula, it is actually flexible on the tip. It has some other features as well. The flexibility means that it's really easy to scrape things out of your Thermomix. And also because of the shape of it, it actually contours to the bowl. So when you put it down in the bowl, it's hard to show you, but it does actually contour to the side of the bowl as well. It has the collar, and what the collar means is you can actually use the spatula through the hole of the Thermomix, through the lid, without the blades being chopped up. So you can actually push, if you've got a very full bowl, then you can actually push stuff around in there. So I made vegetable stock before, and I had big carrot and a big zucchini, and it was really quite a full bowl. But when it was chopping, I could push it around, and that, you know, it just means everything gets chopped up. Okay, the other function, oh yes, the other function in here, can you see this? See that hook on there? I'll talk to you about the simmering basket in a minute, but the simmering basket does sometimes go in here, and that hook goes into a little hole in the simmering basket and then becomes a handle. So that's what that little hook is for in your spatula as well. Okay. That is our spatula covered. All right, next on the list, the butterfly. So the butterfly is for aerating. So think about, we do use it in making butter, whipping cream, whipping egg whites, mashed potato, making fruity dreams, which is a soft serve ice cream. Very simple to put into your Thermomix. You literally put it over the blades like that, and give it a little twist to the left, and then it doesn't come off. Okay, now really important thing to know about the butterfly, and it does actually say on it, but you may not read it, maximum speed 4 with the butterfly in. So just think about, a butterfly has 4 wings, so for maximum speed 4 with your butterfly. Cool. All right, simmering basket. We'll go back to the simmering basket. So this can be used for rice, veggies, eggs, all sorts of things. It's great for layered cooking. So you might have a sauce in here, you might have some rice cooking in here, like so, and you might have some more things on top. It's got a lid, so that means that you can't actually overfill it. And what else? Oh, and also you can use it, sometimes you will be asked to put it on top like that. That just allows for evaporation. So with a risotto, it wants some evaporation of that liquid as the risotto cooks, and that allows for that, which the measuring cup actually wouldn't. It would keep a lot more of the liquid inside. Cool. All right, so that's your simmering basket. And the other thing is you can actually use it as a strainer, and I actually do. So even though I do have a colander, often I just get my simmering basket out and drain stuff through here. So I can drain, you know, pasta through there if I want to, all sorts of things, depending on how many you're feeding, of course. Okay, the splash guard. The splash guard only is for use with high heat, and it will prompt you to put the splash guard on instead of the measuring cup. So I'll show you shortly how you can use temperatures manually, but we do have a high heat temperature of 160 degrees, which is only available in guided cooking. So think caramelizing onions, browning meat, and then things like sugar stages. So making caramel, making honeycomb. And it will ask you to put the splash guard on top instead of a measuring cup, and it's got 2 little lugs either side. And you'll notice that whenever you turn the Thermomix on, these little arms lock the lid in place, and those little lugs mean that that splash guard is also held in place. Temperature goes up to 160 degrees when you in the high heat, and that's when you need the splash guard. Okay, baroma. So this is the baroma, and what it's used for is steaming. So it sits on top of the lid. You make sure the MC is not on there. Okay, and it has a couple of layers. So it's got the lid, it's got a tray, if you like, and then it's got the bottom bit here of the varoma. Really important, you can see all the holes in here, and it's really important that you make sure whenever you're steaming anything in there, that some of those holes are, or those vents or holes are exposed, so that the steam can come through and it really, and you get proper steaming happening up there. Okay, what else do I need to tell you? Yes, so because it has the two layers, you can have meat or fish on the top layer, you can have vegetables cooking down below. Whenever you're using it, make sure when you take the lid off that you actually turn it away from you. All right, then you can use it as a trivet. You can pop it down on the bench top and you can put the rest of the varoma on top of it. That means that any drips are going to go onto the lid and not onto your bench. Whenever you're steaming, and you will see there are instructions in the back of your white basic cookbook to do with steaming, but whenever you're steaming, you must have a minimum of 500 grams of water for each 30 minutes that you're cooking. And you add an extra 250 grams of water for each extra 15 minutes. As I said, that's all in your basic cookbook, and in that book at the back, it will also tell you how long it takes to steam various things, whether it's vegetables, meat, fish, and so on. There's also chopping functions in the back of that too. Okay, that's all of those things. All right, oh no, it's not, measuring cup. So the measuring cup does sit in the lid. It's got these two little lugs either side, these little things here, and that means you can actually lock it into the lid, which is fantastic because it means you can turn your lid upside down and the measuring cup doesn't fall out. It does have two little things. I don't use it actually as a measuring cup, but it does have a 100 ml measure one side and a 50 ml measure the other side. I tend to just chuck a bit of water in if I just need a little bit of water, and then I'm pouring at the top. It's obviously got the pouring spout. And the other thing about it, when it is in place, it is not locked in place, okay? There's still a spot there. I can't really get you where you can see that there's air going through, but there is definitely air going through. It doesn't cause, it's not a bung, there's no pressure in there. There is always a space for steam and to come out. And you can use this in reverse. So when you're making something like a mayonnaise, the fact that it's like that means that you can drizzle the oil onto the lid here and it will drip down slowly and emulsify your mayonnaise. So that's a really good thing. Is there anything else I need to tell you about that? Don't take the MC off when you're cooking, because there's a lot of steam. So MC is short for measuring cup. There's a lot of steam that will come out. And don't hold it down either, because if you hold it down, you're more likely to cause a bit of pressure in there. Okay, right, so now I'm just going to show you a bit about the bowl. Okay, so with our bowl, it's stainless steel. And the blades are made out of Solingen steel, which is the toughest steel in the world. And what I just want to show you is how to take it apart. So if you can see on the bottom there, there's a little finger hole there. And then over here, I've got this is like a grip. So literally, I'm just going to push my left hand away from me, and I'm going to pull my right hand towards me, and it just literally does that. Okay. And from that space, I can take out my blades. My blades have got a rounded side here and a sharp side. So when we're chopping, we're going that way, and when we're stirring, we're going in the other direction. To pop it back together, you just put the blades in and just literally reverse what you did. You will find with a brand new bowl that it's a little bit harder than it was for me to take that apart. Okay, but it's just sometimes you just need to put a little bit stick your elbow into your tummy and a bit of a push there, or you might get a nice man in your life to just take it apart and put it together again a few times, and it'll loosen up. One more thing, or a couple more things actually. See the pins on the bottom of here? It's really important before you put the bowl back into the housing that those pins are dry. So I generally, I use the pre-clean on here, which I'll show you in a minute, but also I sometimes wash it, holding it out of water and just washing it with a brush under the tap, so that I'm not getting water all over there. It doesn't matter, you can get them wet, you can pull it apart, you can put it in the dishwasher, it's no drama, but just make sure that it is dry, or those pins are dry before you put them back in. And if you do immerse the whole bowl, we've got little holes in here, so you need to give it a good wiggle to make sure you get all that water out, so that those pins stay dry. Where they go in, you'll be able to see in your housing, is right next to the computer, so that's why they need to be dry. The other thing is, always make sure if you pull the bowl apart to wash, make sure you put it back together before you put it back on here. All right. If you don't, you're left with a hole in the bottom, and you start chucking stuff in, and particularly if it's liquid, it's not a good thing to do. All right. So just make sure, get into the habit of always putting things back together, the bowl back together before you set it back in the housing. If by any chance you do have a spill, if it's just water, mop it up. There is actually a little drainage hole. It will drain onto your bench top, but mop it up, leave the Thermomix for a few hours, turn it back on and see how it's going. If it's anything different, if it's sticky or anything like that, it probably needs to go for a service, because you just want to you don't want anything to get, if it's sticky, it's not good for any workings, particularly if it's gone inside there. Okay, but you're not going to do that, because you're always going to put your bowl back on when it's all been put back together. All right, now get out the picture a little bit and show you a bit more on the screen. So with the screen, what I'm going to show you, this is how you would use it manually, okay? But I would suggest to begin with, you use guided cooking. But we've got 3 dials on here. We've got time, we've got temperature, we've got speed. Whichever one of these is large is controlled by this silver knob on here. So I can turn my time up here. My temperature, we've got all these different options of temperature. Everything up to 120 degrees is on a thermostat. So it's going to go up and click off, go up and click off. If you are steaming using that varoma, it needs to be on varoma temperature, because that's a rolling boil. The heat is not clicking off. It's going to continually heat and create the steam that you need for cooking. Just as an aside, something like 45, 50 degrees is great for tempering chocolate, and 37 degrees is still counted as raw if you're a raw cook. Okay, so I'm just going to turn that temperature off. And then on this dial, we've got this little symbol down here. This means, as I showed you before, the blades are turned, they're chopping. That means they're going the other way, so that they're leading with the rounded side of the blades, not the sharp side of the blades. Okay, whenever you're setting any of these dials, if you're cooking manually, always start from the left-hand side, because if you haven't set time, the heat won't work, but it will come up with an error message saying there is no time set. All right, well, we'll move on from that. I'm just going to swipe this way, and there's a whole heap of functions on here. I'm just going to quickly run through really the ones that I use outside guided cooking. A lot of these are just using guided cooking, but every function will give you some information. So if I put, let's just see, let's go to the pre-clean. This is the pre-clean mode. When it first comes up for you, all this information will be up on the screen, and then you have an option to tick it so it doesn't show up again. All right, you can get out of it, but if you ever need it, every little one has a little information thing up here which will tell you about it. So the pre-clean needs a litre of water. You select what sort of clean you want. If you're going to use detergent, you just 1 drop of detergent. And if you are going to use the brown and clean, just use about 30 grams of white vinegar, because the detergent will start frothing out. Okay, so it's a fantastic function, but it was really just to show you every function has that information there, and this is brilliant. Okay, want to get out of that, I can slide out of that. So the scales I've shown you. Dough mode is all about kneading. 2 minutes of kneading in your Thermomix is equivalent to 25 minutes of kneading by hand. So that's amazing. I'm going to put the lid on for a second. I'm going to hit turbo, because this is a really important one to show you. So turbo, I do use quite a lot outside of guided cooking. All right, and it's basically you hit that, and what that's doing, it's doing a super fast spin, so it helps actually clean the blades of your Thermomix. But the important thing with this is that the lid will not release until you get out of turbo. So you either swipe it back this way like that, or you hit your home button. All right, so we've got the pre-clean, we've got an automatic blend, we've got an egg boiler, so you can pop your eggs in there. All the information's in there, you can have a look at it. Kettle mode, warming up, thicken for sauces and custards, rice cooker mode, fermentation for yogurt, sous vide, or slow cooking and sous vide. So you've got all those amazing functions there. And then if we go the other way, that takes us straight to Cookie Doo. And Cookie Doo is another story for another day. And when I actually catch up with you and we go through all the functions together. All right. Is there anything else I need to? I think that's pretty much it. Oh, there's one other thing. But here you can go straight into Cookie Doo. If you click on there, and you can start searching for recipes. All right. So one of the things that we generally make together is vegetable stock paste. However, I have done a video on that. So if you want to make something different, we can do something different. I'm going to go back to the home page. Back to these 3 lines here. Your TM6 comes with the basic cookbook on it already. So the way to find that is you go into My Recipes, you go Save Collections, and I've got quite a few Save Collections on there. If I come down here, somewhere down here, oh, it's gone back up again, hold on. There it is, Basic Cookbook. Click on my Basic Cookbook, and all the recipes are there straight away. Okay, one last thing I'm going to show you. I know there's always one last thing. Out of there is settings. So one of the things that I know that has that can get a little frustrating after a while is the noise, because it does go on. It will go on for 15 minutes if you let it. So you can go into sounds and you can change. So I've got mine the volume right down low, and I've got it on the least number of chimes. You might want it on more than that, and that's fine. That's just what I've chosen, but you have the flexibility to do that here. Yeah, I think that is everything. So that will at least get you up and running, get you started. You can get going with your Thermomix, and you and I will be in touch, and we will have a good chat, go through things again, make sure you're comfortable with everything. Can't wait to catch up. Thanks. Bye.